The Galaxy Council chamber glowed with polished white stone and swirling holograms, but beneath the beauty was the usual noise of arguments, excuses, and postponements. 70 alien delegates shouted over one another, each insisting the danger wasn't their responsibility, that the growing threat on the outer rim was exaggerated, that humans were panicking over nothing. But humanity knew the truth. They always did. At the center of the chamber stood Ambassador Leora Kane, a calm figure among chaos. Her dark uniform reflected blue light from the council screens, her eyes focused and sharp. She waited patiently, something humans were good at. But today her patience was thinner than a strand of wire. A tall Zorian elder slammed his staff. "The reports of shard-born attacks lack evidence," he said. "There is no reason to mobilize fleets." Leora raised her head slowly. "Outer colonies are disappearing," she said, her voice steady. "Mining stations have gone silent. This is not a rumor." Another delegate waved dismissively. "If humans fear shadows, that is not our concern." A murmur of laughter spread through the chamber. Arrogant, careless, thoughtless. Exactly the behavior Leora expected from them. She clenched her jaw, but she did not shout. Humans didn't shout when they were angry. Humans became quiet, very quiet. And the galaxy never understood how dangerous that silence was. For weeks, Leora had brought evidence. For months, she requested reinforcements. For nearly a year, Earth had warned the Council that something ancient, something powerful, had awakened beyond the rim. But every time the Council delayed, every time they postponed, every time they chose comfort over danger. Today was the last time. Leora knew it. The Council didn't. A digital map appeared behind her, showing the outer colonies. Red lights blinked where stations used to exist. "Look," Leora said simply, "your indecision has cost millions of lives." The Veil Priestess leaned back lazily. "Humans exaggerate, always rushing, always emotional." Leora's eyes narrowed slightly. "That's not emotion," she said softly. "That's warning." Another delegate laughed. "And what will humans do if we decline your request again?" Leora's answer came without hesitation. "We'll do it ourselves." The chamber fell into absolute silence, the kind of silence that felt like gravity thickening around every throat. Every species knew one universal truth about humans. When they said that sentence, things changed. Wars shifted, empires trembled, and the galaxy understood they had already made their last mistake. The council speaker finally whispered, "Humanity, you dare act without our approval?" Leora stepped closer, her voice calm like a quiet storm. "We asked for cooperation. You offered nothing. We requested unity. You gave excuses. So now humanity will take action." A delegate protested, "You cannot move fleets without authorization." Leora interrupted, her tone still quiet. "We already have." Shock rippled through the chamber. Screens lit up with urgent alerts. Human ships were launching, hundreds of them, silent, sleek, deadly, rising from Earth, Mars, Luna, and hidden outposts the Council never even knew existed. Leora did not smile. She did not gloat. She simply spoke the truth. "You failed to protect the galaxy, so humanity will." The speaker slammed his hand on the table. "This is rebellion." "No," Leora said. "This is responsibility." The map zoomed out, revealing the entire human defense fleet moving toward the outer rim. A force so large, the chamber gasped in unison. Humanity had been preparing long before this meeting, long before the council stopped listening, long before the first colony vanished. Leora bowed her head slightly. "We warned you. You ignored us. So now, we'll do it ourselves." Outside the chamber's windows, stars flickered as the first human dreadnoughts jumped into hyperspace. The council stared helplessly because for the first time in centuries, humanity had stopped asking permission, and the galaxy began to panic. The Galaxy Council chamber was still frozen in shock long after Ambassador Leora Kane delivered her final sentence. Every alien delegate stared at the massive holographic map showing the human fleet already in motion. Hundreds of signatures, hundreds of warships, all moving with purpose, all moving without hesitation. Forward online. Lights flickered across smooth white hulls, revealing markings that no alien spy had ever seen before. The name glowed in bright blue. Project Helios. Commander Aaron Vale, the fleet admiral entrusted with humanity's newest creation, walked along a metal bridge overlooking the ships. His steps echoed off steel walls, but the sound was swallowed by the hum of reactors powering up. Thousands of engineers and officers rushed through the hangar, their movements efficient, sharp, and driven by purpose. "Status report," Aaron said as he reached the command platform. Captain Reyes saluted sharply. "All Helios-class ships ready for deployment. Solar-forged armor stable. Gravity engines at full charge." Aaron nodded once. He had waited for this moment for years, since the first Shardborn attack on a human listening post, since the day Earth realized that the Council would never help them. Since humanity decided that survival must be guaranteed, not requested. Project Helios wasn't just a fleet. It was a declaration, a statement carved into steel. If the galaxy refused to act, then humanity would act alone. The hangar shimmered as the first ship lifted from its docking clamps, the HSF Dawnbringer, flagship of the Helios fleet. Its hull gleamed with armor forged by focusing the sun's energy through gravitational lenses. No other species understood how humans created these materials. No one had ever seen anything like it. Some rumors said humanity unlocked forbidden physics, others whispered they had help from extinct civilizations. But the truth was simpler. Humans learned faster than anyone, worked harder than anyone, feared failure more than anyone. And so they built something the galaxy could not imagine. Back in the Galaxy Council chamber, chaos erupted. Delegates shouted, screens flashed, alarms blared. The speaker slammed his staff, but no one obeyed. Everyone wanted answers, answers Leora would not give. How long have humans had these ships? Why didn't they tell us? Is humanity preparing for war? Leora Kane stood calmly at the center of the storm. "There is no war," she said quietly, "except the one you refuse to fight." The Veiled Priestess trembled with disbelief. "That fleet is massive," she whispered. "Our records show no construction on that scale." Leora's eyes sharpened. "Of course not," she replied. "Humans don't build things where others can see them." Her words hit the chamber like a stone thrown into still water. The truth was clear. Humanity had been preparing for years, building in silence, planning in shadows, watching as the Shardborn advanced, and the Council did nothing. The speaker leaned forward. "If humans act alone," he warned, "you will destabilize the galaxy." Leora calmly met his gaze. "Perhaps the galaxy needs to be destabilized," she said, "if it means saving it." While the Council spiraled into arguments, the human fleet reached the outskirts of the Orion Fringe. Shardborn signals flickered across the screens of Helios command ships, massive, crystal-like entities drifting through the void, consuming energy from planets and stars. Captain Reyes lowered his voice. "Sir, Council sensors just picked up our jump. They're sending urgent messages demanding we hold position." Aaron didn't even look away from the visual feed of Shardborn movement. "We're not here for their permission," he said. "We're here because the galaxy is running out of time." He raised his hand. "All ships, lock on to coordinates. Prepare for Helios strike formation." The Helios fleet shifted like a single breathing organism. Gleaming hulls aligned, solar cores burned bright, engines formed shimmering wake trails as they charged. One final message came from the Council, a desperate broadcast. "Humanity, do not engage." Aaron spoke without emotion. "Humans asked for unity. Humans were ignored, so humans will act alone." With a silent flash, the Helios fleet jumped into combat range. The jump shockwave rippled across the void, and as human ships emerged into the battlefield, they didn't wait. They didn't hesitate. They didn't negotiate. They moved, as only humans do when patience is gone. Aaron lifted his hand one last time. "The Council doubted us. The Shardborn threatened us, so humanity will handle it."
His hand dropped. "Helios fleet," he ordered. "Engage." And the galaxy, watching from a distance, finally understood why the moment humans said, "We'll do it ourselves," every species began to panic.
The Shardborn drifted at the edge of the Orion fringe like silent blades of living obsidian. Their bodies were not metal, not crystal, not flesh, but something ancient and hungry. They moved without engines, without heat signatures, without communication. They drifted toward energy the way predators drift toward blood. For months, human outposts had vanished. Lights from distant stations had flickered out one by one. But the Council dismissed every report as equipment failure. They dismissed human fear as overreaction. And they dismissed the Shardborn as myths. Now the myths floated before the Helios fleet, cold, dark, and terrifying. On the bridge of the HSF Dawnbringer, Admiral Aaron Vale felt the hairs rise on the back of his neck as the first Shardborn creature turned toward them. It didn't move like a ship. It didn't fly like a being. It didn't even acknowledge physics. It simply shifted, appearing closer in an instant, defying every sensor's logic. Captain Reyes muttered under his breath, "Sir, that's not a fleet. That's a swarm." Aaron nodded slowly. "They've grown," he said, "and they're feeding." The Shardborn pulsed with faint blue light. Every pulse drained energy from the surrounding space. Stars dimmed, solar winds slowed, and human ships felt the pull, as if something was drinking the light around them. Maravas's voice came through the comms from the Astravaiga. "Admiral, our readings match the ancient files from the relic. These creatures consume energy until systems collapse." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Exactly," he said, and the Council ignored it. A sudden surge cut across the screen. A Shardborn creature flared bright, then fired a beam of compressed energy. Not plasma, not lasers, but stolen starlight, a weapon created from death itself. The beam struck a nearby asteroid station and tore it apart in a single blink. One moment the station existed. The next, it was dust. Captain Reyes swallowed hard. "If that hits a colony," he said quietly. Aaron finished the sentence for him. "There will be nothing left." Humans didn't fear war. They feared extinction. And the Shardborn were extinction given shape. The Council's last broadcast echoed in Aaron's mind. "Do not engage," they had begged. "Wait for our approval." But the Shardborn didn't wait. They spread. They consumed. They pulled life from every corner of the outer rim. Humanity was the first to see it, the first to understand it, and now the first to face it. Aaron raised his hand. "All ships," he commanded, "activate solar lances." The Dawnbringer's hull glowed with golden lines of energy as the weapons came online. Solar lances were not traditional cannons. They were beams forged from condensed sunlight, stored in Helios cores for years. Energy so pure, so concentrated, it could melt warships in seconds. "Target the closest Shardborn," Aaron said. "Fire on my mark." The Shardborn creature floated closer. Its body expanded and contracted like something breathing. Human sensors struggled to identify its structure. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't alive. It was something between, something evolution never should have made. Aaron lowered his hand. "Mark." The Dawnbringer fired. A beam of golden fire tore through the void. It struck the Shardborn dead center. The creature convulsed violently. Its body cracked like frozen glass under a hammer. Shards of glowing crystal scattered across space. The crew gasped. They expected the creature to die, explode, fall apart. Instead, every shard began to glow. Every shard began to pulse. Every shard began to move. Captain Reyes whispered, "They're multiplying." Aaron's eyes widened, not in fear, but in fury. He said coldly, "The Council ignored this. They ignored this while colonies fell." The scattered shards reformed into smaller Shardborn, half the size, twice as fast. Their bodies flickered with stolen energy. Dozens of them surrounded the human fleet. Aaron slammed his hand onto the console. "Helios fleet! Defensive formation Sigma!" Human ships tightened ranks. Solar shields flared blue and gold. Gravity engines overpowered the draining pull of the Shardborn. But the creatures attacked fast. Faster than anything the fleet had ever seen. Their beams of stolen light smashed against solar shields. One hit shook the Dawnbringer so hard the crew were thrown sideways. Maravas's voice came through the comms. "Admiral, the Shardborn are adapting to our weapons. They're absorbing the solar lance energy." Aaron exhaled slowly. He expected this. He planned for this. "Then we use the second weapon," he said. Helios pulse engines. Shock rippled across the bridge. Pulse engines were experimental, unstable, banned by the Council, and now humanity was about to unleash them. "Charge the engines," Aaron commanded. "Prepare for full activation." Reyes hesitated. "If we use that here, the galaxy will know." Aaron looked at the swarm of Shardborn surrounding them. "The galaxy already knows," he said quietly. "It knows we warned them. It knows they ignored us. And now it will know why humans do things ourselves." He raised his hand. "All ships, release the pulse." The Helios fleet glowed bright. Brighter. Brighter still, until the entire region of space lit up like a newborn sun. Then the pulse detonated. A wave of anti-resonant energy surged outward. It wasn't light. It wasn't heat. It wasn't fire. It was the opposite of the Shardborn's existence. The Shardborn shrieked, without mouths, without sound. Their bodies cracked, fractured, dissolved. One by one, the Shardborn collapsed into dust. The void fell silent again. Aaron watched the destruction, his voice soft and grim. "This is what we warned them about. This is what they refused to face. And this is why humanity had to act alone." The battle was won, but the war had only begun. Because deeper in the darkness, far beyond the rim, more Shardborn were waking, and the galaxy finally realized the truth. When humans said, "We'll do it ourselves," it wasn't pride, it wasn't rebellion. It was the only reason the galaxy still had a chance.
The Orion fringe remained bright with the fading glow of the Helios pulse. What had once been a silent hunting ground for the Shardborn was now empty, cleared, purged, protected. The Helios fleet drifted in formation, their solar-forged hulls shimmering like floating suns in the darkness. The battle was over, but the consequences were just beginning. Back in the Galaxy Council chamber, panic spread like wildfire. Every delegate shouted at once. Demands, accusations. fear, all tangled into one chaotic storm. They deployed forbidden technology. They disobeyed council orders. They will destabilize everything. They must be punished. Leora Kane stood alone in the center, calm, silent, watching them panic exactly as she had expected. Because when humans act alone, the galaxy always reacts louder than the threat itself. The speaker slammed his staff, his voice cracking with frustration. Humanity must answer for this breach. Leora's voice was steady. Humanity answered long before this meeting. A hologram flickered to life above her, showing the Shardborn swarm dissolving under the Helios pulse. Dozens of council delegates gasped. What are those creatures? They consume light? They split when attacked? Why did no one warn us? Leora turned her gaze slowly across the room. We warned you, she said softly, again and again, and you ignored us. The silence that followed was heavier than gravity. Even the arrogant species couldn't deny what they saw. The threat was real, the danger was ancient, and humanity had stood alone against it. Far across the stars, Admiral Aaron Vale stood on the bridge of the HSF Dawnbringer. His fleet moved toward the next Shardborn territory, the next dark hollow where the creatures fed, the next system silently dying. Captain Reyes approached. Sir, Council fleets are watching us. They're holding distance, but they're following. Aaron answered without turning. They're scared. Reyes swallowed. Of the Shardborn? Aaron shook his head slowly. No, he said quietly. They're scared of us. The crew didn't deny it. Every species feared the moment humans decided to stop asking. And today, humanity wasn't asking anymore. A soft beep interrupted them. Meravos appeared on the comm screen from the Astra Vega. Admiral, scans confirm another Shardborn nest ahead. Energy levels rising fast. Aaron nodded once. Prepare Helios Formation Delta. Full solar output. The fleet shifted in perfect synchronization, like a school of glowing predators circling their prey. But before they could attack, a transmission crackled through space, weak, distorted, desperate. This is the Lithan outpost. We are under attack. Shards everywhere. We can't hold. Reyes turned sharply. Sir, they're not human. Aaron didn't hesitate for even a breath. We protect them. All ships alter course. Within seconds, the Helios fleet redirected toward the Lithan outpost. Council law didn't direct them. Politics didn't guide them. Humanity acted because it was right, and because no one else would. On the Council homeworld, the panic deepened. Humans are taking unilateral control of the defense network. They're deciding battles without approval. Leora Kane raised her head sharply. You had your chance to lead, and you wasted it. The speaker narrowed his eyes. And who leads now? Leora answered without hesitation. Humanity leads. The chamber erupted. Shouts, gasps, threats. But none of them mattered. Because outside their windows, human fleets were already saving lives in systems the Council abandoned. Back in the field, the Helios fleet descended into the Lithan system. Shardborn swarmed the outpost, their black bodies absorbing the last strands of energy from failing shields. The Lithans watched in stunned silence as humanity shielded their world, without hesitation, without reward, without thanks required. Captain Reyes breathed out one sentence. Sir, we're not just fighting, we're leading. Aaron nodded slowly. The galaxy doesn't panic because humans act. They panic because they know humans never stop. The last Shardborn creature dissolved into drifting ash. The battle was over. The Lithan outpost was saved. And across the stars, a message spread like wildfire. Humanity moved. Humanity fought. Humanity won. The galaxy's fear turned into something new. Respect, dependence, recognition. Because now every species understood one truth. When humanity said, "We'll do it ourselves," they didn't mean rebellion. They meant survival. And the galaxy followed them because no one else could lead.
The Lithan outpost slowly stabilized as the last fragments of shard-borne dust drifted into the void. Human ships circled above like protective guardians, their solar-forged hulls glowing in quiet brilliance. The system, once minutes from collapse, now felt alive again. Safe, calm, breathing. The Lithan commander appeared on the Dawnbringer's screen, his crystalline shape flickering with gratitude. "Humanity, you saved us," he said softly. "We expected the Council fleet. We expected help from your allies." Aaron Vale kept his tone steady. "You called for help. You needed help. So we came." The Lithan commander bowed deeply. "No Council fleet would have arrived in time. No other species has this power." Aaron didn't answer that part. He didn't need to. The truth already drifted across every star system. Humanity had become the shield of the galaxy. Not through conquest, not through domination, but through action. Swift, decisive, relentless action. Back on the Council homeworld, chaos had transformed into something even stranger. Silence. A silence filled with fear, embarrassment, and a dawning understanding that everything had changed. Delegates watched as system after system broadcast human victories, shard-borne nests collapsing, outposts saved, civilizations protected, all without the Council, all without their approval, all without their leadership. The speaker rose shakily. We must regain control," he said weakly. "If humanity acts alone, the Council becomes irrelevant." Leora Kane stepped forward, her eyes cold, sharp, unshaken. "The Council became irrelevant long before today." Gasps echoed through the chamber, but she continued. "You failed to act. You failed to listen. You failed to protect. And humanity will not apologize for saving a galaxy you abandoned." The speaker trembled with anger. "You cannot simply replace the Council." Leora didn't blink. "We aren't replacing anyone. We are leading because no one else will." Her words echoed like a verdict, like a new law written in the heart of the galaxy. Meanwhile, Admiral Aaron Vale stood at the helm of the Dawnbringer as the fleet prepared to jump deeper into shard-borne territory. The crew worked with quiet precision, their eyes focused but unwavering. They all knew the truth the galaxy was slowly learning. The shard-borne threat wasn't a border problem. It wasn't a human problem. It was a galactic threat. And humanity had become the front line of survival. "Admiral," Captain Reyes reported, "we're receiving transmissions from dozens species. They want to assist us." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "Assist or follow?" Reyes hesitated. "Follow." Aaron nodded, his voice quiet but firm. "They finally understand." A soft beep announced another incoming message. This one carried a different tone: respect, sincerity, desperation. The Zarathi Chancellor appeared on the screen. "Humanity," he began slowly. "We request permission to join your operation. We would be honored to fight beside you." Beside him, the Valayan priestess appeared, bowing her head. "The Shardborn threaten all life. Lead the way, and we will follow." And then, one by one, more species joined the transmission. Not demanding control, not offering conditions, but pledging loyalty, trust, unity. For the first time in galactic history, a real alliance formed. Not because the Council commanded it, but because humanity inspired it. Aaron exhaled slowly. "Transmit coordinates," he said. "Allied fleets will join Delta formation. We move as one." Rias looked at him with awe. "Sir,
You just united the galaxy." Aaron shook his head. "No," he said gently. "The Shardborn united us. We simply showed the galaxy how to stand." The fleet prepared for the final jump. Solar cores glowed, gravity engines rumbled, Starvale fields shimmered like liquid gold around the ships. Maravas appeared on the comm screen. "Admiral, the deepest Shardborn hive is in the Erythian Abyss. It's older than our records, and it's waking up." Aaron stood tall. "Then that's where we go." One by one, Allied fleets aligned behind the humans. Ships from species that had once mocked humanity, feared humanity, ignored humanity, now ready to fight under human command. Aaron lifted his hand as the stars dimmed before the jump. He said, "Today, we do not act as worlds. Today, we act as one galaxy. And today, we finish what should have been faced long ago." The fleet engines surged, energy roared through the void. The darkness of hyperspace swallowed them whole. And as humanity led the greatest allied fleet ever assembled, one truth echoed across every star system. A truth whispered in awe, in fear, in respect. The moment humans said, "We'll do it ourselves," the galaxy followed. The war for survival had begun, but for the first time, the galaxy had hope, because humanity stood at the front, unbroken, determined, and unstoppable.